If you had told me at the beginning of the season that at this point we would have the worst record of defeats by a Liverpool side since 1950, there's no way I would have believed you. How did we get to this point? How did we get to a point where we're finishing a match with Kerkez, Van Dijk, Gravenberch and Jones as our back four? Even Steven Gerrard said after the match, that's never a Liverpool back four and never will be. How do we get to a point where we're losing 4-1 after losing the last 2 games 3-0? Ridiculous! And yet it keeps happening. It keeps happening over and over again. And it's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. And we don't seem to have any solutions. We've just lost Ekitike to possibly another injury as well. What on earth is happening? We're going to talk about how Liverpool cannot stop conceding goals and why that's happening. We're going to talk about how Liverpool have lost all sorts of creativity in their attack. And it's just long shot after long shot, cross after cross into packed boxes. There doesn't seem to be any ingenuity there. We're also going to talk about the mindset, that fragility, that lack of willingness to work your absolute socks off, being so slow in transition, both in attack. We're rarely springing any meaningful counters, are we? As soon as we get the ball, we're just holding on to it. Who's around? Who can pass to? And slowing everything down. Ponderous, overly methodical. And then transitions in defence, we are not tracking back anywhere quick enough, and we're leaving massive, massive gaps all over the place. We're going to talk about that. I am still not quite there into Slot out. I just feel like we've got to hold on to it a little bit longer, but I'm not seeing solutions from him. I'm not seeing any creative thinking from him. I don't believe him or Van Dijk as leader are able to motivate the troops, are able to force believers, like Klopp, from doubters to believers. They're not able to make this team believe again, and the team is absolutely cooked with confidence, wrecked, fragile, weak-willed. They're on their knees. We're going to try and dissect this 4-1 loss to PSV in the Champions League, another loss. I'm Laurence on Liverpool, a tiny, tiny Liverpool fan channel. Let's get into this. All right, so we started off with a penalty. I can't even say it straight-faced. We started off with a penalty in the first 5 minutes. Virgil Van Dijk, who apparently shook with anger after the last loss because his team let him down so much. Apparently, a player half his size nudged him, and that forced him to go boom, right arm straight in the air, handball the ball a metre above his head. I'm not sure how that happened, but it happened. Maybe the other player found kind of a pressure point somewhere, press that and this moves. I don't know. It did some effect to Van Dijk, and 1-0 down straight away with a penalty. Nicely taken penalty. Mamardashvili had no chance. He went to the wrong direction. It is what it is. Liverpool did get back into the game, though. They did get back into the game when a Gakpo, chop, cut in, right foot shot, the same thing he does 20 times a match. Somehow the PSV players fell for it. The ball came off the goalie and Szoboszlai put the ball away into an empty net. Nice. A bit of luck. And actually, that seemed to motivate the Liverpool players a little bit in that they did try harder. Salah had a nice bit of energy to him, a few good crosses. I hesitate to say movement. It was all very, very predictable. And PSV did manage to defend every single attack pretty well. We didn't look close to scoring, but at least we were pinning them into their half. And not looking like they would score against us either for the rest of that half. And if you thought anyone would kick on in the second half, maybe you thought Liverpool had a chance of doing that. Clearly not when we go 2-0 down within 10 minutes of the second half. Salah, instead of marshalling the left back around the halfway line, just getting in front of him, forcing him to backtrack a little bit, charges right at him with the defensive nous of someone who's never, ever made a tackle in his life, it seems. Left back shimmies, bursts forward. He's now in acres of space, takes advantage of it. And then a beautiful curved through ball to Till, who's making a run. It wouldn't have mattered, though, if Kerkez was on the right side of Till. But he wasn't. He was completely on the other side, but carried on running with him. So instead of holding his run, making Till go offside at the point of the pass being made, he runs with him, keeping him onside, but on the wrong side of the ball. So he's not in a position to make a tackle. He's not in a position to cut out the ball. And this is a running theme with Kerkez. He's so often out of position defensively. You know, we bought Kerkez and we bought Frimpong, who's Frimpong's mainly a right winger, it seems, from what I've seen from him. And Kerkez doesn't have the positional awareness of a proper defensive right back. Robbo has to come back in. He just has to come back in, at least until we ride out this storm. Nice little finish from Till. Easy 2-1. All right, you could see straight away the players drop their heads. We can't go down a second time and get another bit of luck. It's only luck that seemed to get us back into this game. So we're kind of done for. We already felt it. Saying that, there were a few attempts. There was a Sobosai powerful strike, McAllister, low-driven shot from outside the box, a beautiful cross from Salah, two headed opportunities for Gakpo, one of which should have been buried, and nothing went in. Once that burst of attacking momentum died down, PSV took advantage again. Much quicker in the transitions. First of all, I want to touch on, though, defensively, in all those situations, apart from the Gakpo header, which should have been a goal, they were keeping Liverpool at bay, forcing them into long shots, keeping them on the edge of the box, defending things well. There was a real team cohesion. There was a real determination not to concede another one, things that we've been sorely lacking. And then in a transition, when they got the opportunity, counters would be swift, fast, confident, direct, full of belief, excitement, you know, like a childlike excitement, like, yes, we can go forward and score a goal here. Things you don't feel with Liverpool, because every time they got the transitions, it would be slow and ponderous. It would be hold the ball, pass sideways. And all you're doing is you're letting the PSV players get right back into position, into a low block, something we've struggled against all season. Why would you give them that time? Why would you not make the creative movements and fast-playing decisions needed for a swift counter-attack to take advantage of disorganized defenses? You're letting them reorganize themselves. Anyway, so the third goal comes and I can't even, isn't this weird? Last video I was angry. This one I'm just like, you just got to laugh at it. It's ridiculous. Kanate should have just put his foot through it. Just cleared it. He was out of position, too far over to the right. The ball's there. A couple of PSV players around him. Just boot it, Kanate. Do the simple things and get rid of it. Instead, he holds his foot out like he wants to control it and trap the ball. In that position on the pitch, that's so risky and unnecessary. And he doesn't even do that. He completely misses the interception, misses the ball. The ball bounces past him. The PSV player, he sort of turned them, then reversed the shot, hit the post, and a nice tap in. It's just a weak-willed defense, no organization, completely lacking in defensive awareness. It's like they've not been defenders. Kanate's been a defender his whole career. How does he not know what to do in that situation? It's so bizarre. He gets pulled off straight away with the master stroke that Arne Slot's pulled a few times before of putting Gravenberg into that right centre-back position. We've already got Jones in right back, and now you put Gravenberg. So you've got two midfielders once again in your defensive back four again, and then Chiesa comes on. But listen, I love Chiesa. He was aggressive, wasn't he? He pulled a few players down to the ground. He looked like he had fight in him. He had a bit of a dog in him, and I want that. I want to see other players have that. Chiesa was more proactive in trying to score a goal and more aggressive and more hungry in the short time he was on the pitch than any other player the whole match. So I like that. I just don't think Chiesa has enough quality to be, or maybe he should be starting games. I don't know. Maybe we should find out. Start him 3 or 4 games in a row. Let's see what will happen. But as an impact sub, he brings a burst of energy onto the pitch, and so that's great, right? Problem is, every other player on the pitch should be doing that anyway. They should be doing that anyway. You know, and after Chiesa, we've got Kerkez, who does put in a shift. He does put in a shift, but he's out of position all the time. And Sobosai, who's been our player of the season so far, in my opinion. But when he is misplacing passes, and he did that numerous times, misplaced lazy passes, Soboslai doing that, you know the team is at rock bottom. This is a team that is seriously struggling. And then, oh my God, the fourth goal. I mean, maybe you can understand it. Desperation to try and score and get back into it. But Kerkez is right up on the left wing. Van Dijk's all alone. Still, he doesn't deal with the situation very well. Grafenbeck doesn't have the defensive awareness. Once again, him and Jones are all following players towards the 6-yard box, leaving a massive spot, a massive bit of area around the edge of the box. Same as one of the goals we conceded against Forest. The exact same situation happened. We all could see it happening in real time. 2 seconds before it happened, he's going to cut it back to the edge of the box. One of their players is going to run onto it from midfield. Very easy, able to pick his shot. That's exactly what happened. How could they not learn from that, from the Forest game? Just a few days ago, he done exactly the same. And what is that? Is that lack of defensive awareness with the players in the back four? Is that the midfielders not racing back quick enough? McAllister, Soboslai, one of them should have got there. Kerkez way out of position again. It's just all getting a bit ridiculous now. So what do? It's not like you can sack Slot at this point, because who are you going to bring in anyway? And I'm starting to feel a little bit sorry for him, to be honest. You know, once again, I think he's a lovely guy. He comes across like a really great guy. And his calmness and his politeness and his nature is perfect when you're already winning games and you need that calm, composed leadership. But when you're struggling like this, he just doesn't have the bit between his teeth. He just doesn't have the dog in him. He doesn't have the anger. He doesn't have Klopp's way of riling up the troops like they're going into war and just demanding that they all put their lives on the line for the cause. Slot doesn't do that. And Van Dijk, once again, is just moaning. Got himself a yellow card from being so gobby with the ref. He's just complain. But the first goal was his fault. He was definitely lacking in defensive awareness and decision-making for some of the other goals. He's not playing well either. I don't know what to say. What do you think? What do you think is the solution? Let me know in the comments below and we'll have a chat about it. And how are you feeling? Have you gone from me, like where you were quite angry about the Forest game, to the point where you're in despair, laughing at what's happening? I mean, we're unable to make any sense of this at all, aren't we? PSV were not better technically. They don't have better football players. So why did PSV win today? Because they worked harder in the transitions. When they lost the ball, they got back faster. When they won the ball, they got forward faster. They defended with determination. They were switched on at every single moment, and they were fast in the attack. Compare that to Liverpool. Slow, ponderous, predictable in the attack, completely asleep for random moments, just not switched on defensively at all, losing too many duels, lacking in defensive awareness, leaving big, massive gaps. So, all right, at this point, I'm just ranting. I don't know what to say anymore. Thanks for watching the video. Do give me a subscribe and a like. Leave your comments below. I'll speak to you again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.